They hurt you. And it keeps happening. Different faces, same feeling, same confusion, same pain. It's not just bad luck. It's not just that you attract the wrong people. It's deeper. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe you deserve. And what you believe, it was shaped long ago. Maybe by a parent who never saw you. Maybe by love that only came when you were good. Maybe by silence when you needed safety. So now, chaos feels like home. Disrespect feels normal. Love feels like chasing, not resting. You confuse anxiety with connection. You think butterflies mean chemistry. Sometimes those butterflies are warning signs, but you ignore them because they feel familiar. You say, I just fall for the wrong people. But maybe the wrong people are the only ones you know how to love. People who are hot and cold. People who pull you in then push you away. People who apologize but never change. People who drain you and then blame you. That pattern? It didn't start with them. It started with what you learned love was. Carl Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. So look closer. Not at them, at you. Why does that type feel so magnetic? Why does calm feel boring? Why does kindness feel suspicious? If you grew up in survival mode, peace feels uncomfortable. You wait for the other shoe to drop. You don't trust safe. You don't recognize healthy. So you chase intensity instead. You confuse chaos with passion. You call drama chemistry. But chemistry isn't always compatibility. Sometimes it's trauma bonding, two wounds recognizing each other, two unhealed people playing old roles. And you? You keep trying to fix what hurt you, hoping this time it'll end differently. But healing isn't found in repetition. It's found in recognition. You have to see the pattern. To break it, let me tell you about Evan. He always fell for women who needed saving. He thought love meant proving his worth, fixing problems, earning attention. But those relationships drained him. He gave everything, got little in return. One day a friend asked, do you love her, or the feeling of being needed? That question broke him open. He realized he was recreating his childhood, trying to earn love that should have been freely given. So he did something hard. He stopped chasing. He sat with the silence. He let himself feel unneeded. And in that space, he finally felt free. Healing isn't about finding the right person. It's about becoming the right self. The self that no longer settles, no longer overfunctions, no longer accepts breadcrumbs. You deserve more, but you can't receive more until you believe you're worthy of it. So ask yourself, who was the first person that made love feel hard? Who taught you that you had to earn it? That's where the pattern began. And here's the truth. You can't change the past, but you can stop repeating it. You do that by slowing down, by noticing your triggers, by choosing calm over chaos, by walking away when your old self wants to stay. It won't feel natural at first. Healthy love might feel unfamiliar, but unfamiliar isn't bad. It's just new. And new is where freedom lives. New is where healing begins. So no, you're not cursed. You're conditioned. And conditioning can be undone, step by step, choice by choice. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be conscious. Because when you see the pattern, you stop calling it fate, and you start calling it what it really is, a lesson. And every lesson is a doorway to the love you actually deserve. Sometimes you don't fall in love. You fall into a memory your body still holds. It's not chemistry. It's a wound. Looking for comfort, you meet someone. They feel familiar. You get attached fast. Why? Because your nervous system remembers. Not your mind, your body. Remembers what it's like to be unseen, to be needed but not supported, to give and never receive. So when someone triggers that feeling, you think it's love. But it's not love. It's survival. You're trying to fix the past by reenacting it. You hope this time will be different, but it's not, because you're choosing with the same wound. And wounds don't pick healthy. They pick what feels familiar, even if it hurts. Let's say you grew up always caretaking. You became the strong one, the one who never needed help. Now, in relationships, you attract people who take. You stay too long. You ignore your needs. Why? Because part of you believes that love means sacrifice, that your needs are too much, that asking is shameful. This isn't conscious. It's deep. It lives under the surface, and it runs your life until you make it conscious. Like Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Here's a story. Maya always dated emotionally unavailable men. Men who were charming but distant, who gave just enough to keep her, but never enough to build real intimacy. She always blamed herself. I'm too needy. I'm too emotional. I just love too much. But in therapy, she uncovered the truth. Her father was loving, but absent. Physically present. Emotionally checked out. She had to earn his attention. Perform for love. So now, her body chases that dynamic, not because it's good, but because it's what she knows. That's not love. That's repetition. And repetition feels safe. Until it breaks you. To stop attracting toxic love, you have to stop calling pain passion. You have to stop confusing intensity with intimacy. Real love feels calm, consistent, boring to your wounds, but healing to your soul. You won't feel fireworks. You'll feel safe. And safety might scare you at first, because you built an identity around not being safe. Your nervous system has to relearn that it's okay to rest, to receive, to be met fully, that you don't have to earn love by overgiving, by fixing, by shrinking. You just have to be. But first, you have to feel the wound. Name it. Sit with it. What are you really craving? Validation? Security? Touch? Someone to stay? Those needs are human, but when you deny them, they drive you. They choose for you. You end up settling, begging, shrinking, and calling it love. No more. Start seeing clearly. That person who breadcrumbs you, they're not your soulmate. They're your mirror. That ache in your chest isn't about them. It's about the part of you still waiting to be chosen. Choose yourself first. Fully, deeply. That's how the pattern ends. Not by fixing them, but by healing you. You break the cycle by becoming the person your younger self needed. The one who says, no, this isn't love. I deserve more. I choose peace over pain. And then, you stop chasing. You stop settling. You stop confusing trauma for connection. That's not cold. That's clarity. That's what happens when a wound turns into wisdom. Let's get real. It's not that your standards are too high. It's that your wounds are still negotiating. You say you want love, but you keep settling for attention. You say you want peace, but you keep choosing chaos. Why? Because part of you still thinks that love must hurt. That if it's easy, it's not real. That if someone stays, they'll see the real you and leave. So you self-sabotage. You tolerate. You bend. You shrink. Not because you're weak, but because your inner child still runs the show. That little version of you, the one who learned to accept crumbs, The one who had to be perfect to be loved still sits at the table. And until you invite them to heal, they'll keep choosing for you. You think you're being understanding, but really you're avoiding confrontation. You think you're being patient, but really you're afraid to be alone. So you give chances, again and again, even when it hurts, even when you know better. Because deep down, you don't think you deserve better. Here's the truth. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are available for. If you're available for inconsistency, that's what you'll get. If you're available for half love, you'll keep finding people who offer half. So no, your standards aren't too high. Wanting someone kind, honest, emotionally mature? That's not asking too much. That's asking for what's healthy. But your wounded parts are loud. They whisper, be grateful they stayed. Don't push them away. Maybe it's you. It's not you. It's your unhealed pattern. Let me tell you about James. He grew up in a home where love was performance. Get good grades. Be polite. Don't cry. So now, he dates people who only like him when he's on, when he's impressive, when he's useful. And the moment he opens up, they pull away. So he blames himself. I must have been too much. I shouldn't have shared that. But the truth is, his nervous system chases familiarity. It finds home in emotional starvation. Because that's what love used to feel like. To change that, he had to get uncomfortable. He had to sit with silence. He had to say, I'm done earning love. I want to be met where I'm at. He stopped performing, stopped fixing, stopped proving. And when he did, the toxic patterns faded. Because he was no longer available for relationships that drained him. It wasn't magic. It was clarity. You can have that too. But only if you stop negotiating with your pain. It's not strong to stay in what hurts. It's not loving to keep giving when it's not mutual. It's not loyalty if you're betraying yourself. Healing means raising your standards and keeping them, even when you're lonely, even when you're scared. It means choosing partners who regulate, not ones who confuse, who commit, not ones who breadcrumb, who communicate, not ones who ghost. It means saying no to the ones who almost show up, to the ones who might love you someday. Because your peace is not worth the gamble. Because your heart is not a rehab center for broken people who refuse to grow. So no, your standards aren't too high. They're sacred. They're boundaries. They are your protection. And the right people will rise to meet them. But first, you have to stop lowering them to accommodate what you've outgrown. You're not too much. You've just been in environments that ask you to be less. You're not too sensitive. You just feel deeply in a world that fears depth. You're not too complicated. You're layered. You've lived. You're real. And you deserve someone who meets you in your fullness, not your fragments. Start there. And you'll stop attracting what breaks you. You'll start calling in what builds you. Let's talk about the loop. You say you're over them, but you still check their profile. You still hope they'll text. You still dream of a version of them that never existed. Why? Because you're not addicted to them. You're addicted to the story, the fantasy, the idea of what could have been. You think, if I had done this differently, if they just healed, if they realized what they lost. But those are illusions, not facts, not reality. And illusions keep you stuck. They keep you hoping. They keep you tolerating. They keep you chasing a version of love that never loved you back. Let's be honest, if they really cared, you wouldn't be confused. You wouldn't be anxious. You wouldn't be exhausted. Healthy love doesn't feel like survival. It doesn't feel like waiting. It doesn't feel like guessing, but you keep returning. Why? Because you want closure. You want a clean ending. You want them to say, "You were right. I'm sorry. I see it now," but that rarely happens. And even if it did, would it change anything? The truth is, most toxic patterns aren't about the person. They're about the cycle, the need to fix, to earn, to be chosen. It's the wounded child in you saying, "If I'm just good enough, they'll stay. If I love harder, they'll change." But love isn't supposed to be that hard. Love isn't a transaction. It's a connection. And if you're the only one holding it together, it's not love. It's survival mode. Take Maya's story. She dated a man who never committed. Hot and cold, disappearing for days. Always an excuse. But he'd return, with just enough charm, to reset the clock. And she'd stay. Because he had potential. Because he was healing. Because they had history. But none of that changed his behavior. And deep down she knew. What she was clinging to wasn't the man, it was the meaning. If I can make this work, then I'm lovable. If he finally sees me, then I'm worthy. But healing began the moment she stopped waiting. The moment she said, "I don't need to be chosen to feel enough." She blocked him, not out of hate, but out of clarity, because she realized closure isn't something you wait for. It's something you create. You don't need their apology. You need your own permission to let go of what's been breaking you. You're not addicted to love. You're addicted to hope, to the fantasy that one day they'll wake up and be the person you needed. But that fantasy is costing you your energy, your time, your peace. So let's reframe. You're not giving up on them. You're choosing you. You're not being cold. You're protecting your nervous system. You're not bitter. You're setting standards. You're not unforgiving. You're moving on from someone who never gave you what you needed. It's not about revenge. It's not about proving anything. It's about reclaiming your energy. It's about breaking the spell. It's about ending the emotional addiction to what almost felt like love. Yes, it hurts. Yes, you'll grieve. Yes, you'll question everything. But one day, you'll thank yourself. You'll see that walking away was the moment you came back to life. You'll feel peace, not because they changed, but because you did. The loop only breaks when you stop feeding it, when you stop assigning meaning to people who never valued your heart. You deserve real, not almost, not maybe, not when they're ready. Let go of the story. Let go of the what ifs. Let go of who you had to become just to be tolerated. Choose truth over fantasy. Choose clarity over confusion. Choose yourself fully, finally, unapologetically. That's how the cycle ends. There's a moment, a quiet, subtle moment, where you know you can't go back. Not because you hate them, not because you're angry, but because you're finally tired. Tired of shrinking, tired of explaining, tired of begging for bare minimum love. That's when healing begins. Not with revenge, not with rebound, not with pretending you're fine. Healing begins with honesty. Not about them, about you. Ask yourself, why did I tolerate that? What part of me believed I deserved it? Why did silence feel safer than truth? Sometimes we accept pain because it feels familiar. Not good, just familiar. If chaos was your childhood, then peace feels suspicious. If you had to earn love, then unconditional love feels boring. If you were ignored, then breadcrumbs feel like a feast. This is shadow work. This is the inner mirror. This is facing the truth that the patterns we attract start with the wounds we never addressed. Jung said, "The shadow is the part we suppress and deny." You don't heal by avoiding it. You heal by sitting with it, listening to it, asking it, what do you need? Maybe your shadow says, I'm scared of being alone. I don't believe I'm worthy. I thought I had to suffer to be loved. This is not weakness. This is the beginning of freedom. When you see the pattern, you can break the pattern. When you stop blaming them, you can start choosing you. Take Aaron's story. He always dated partners who criticized him. Nothing he did was enough. He walked on eggshells, tried to be perfect, but the criticism never stopped. He thought it was just bad luck. But in therapy he realized that voice was familiar. It sounded just like his father. Unhealed, unexamined pain will always repeat itself. Not because we want it, but because it's the only love we learn to survive. But Aaron chose to stop. He ended the cycle, not by hating his past, but by healing it. He wrote letters he never sent. He forgave what would never be repaired. He reparented his inner child. He chose peace over pattern. And then, he met someone different. Someone calm, kind, emotionally safe. And guess what? He almost sabotaged it. Because it felt too easy, too healthy. But he stayed. He breathed through the discomfort. He let love feel soft. And in doing so, he proved to himself that he was no longer trapped in the loop. This is what healing looks like. Messy, confusing, terrifying, but worth it. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be healed to be loved. But you do need to be aware. Because awareness is power. You get to say, I don't chase chaos anymore. I don't mistake intensity for intimacy. I choose partners who choose me back. You get to write a new story. One where you are the main character. Not the fixer. Not the savior. Not the sacrifice. But the soul, the self. The one who decided, I am enough. Healing starts when you stop trying to prove your worth and start protecting your peace. No more proving. No more performing. No more pretending. Just presence. Just truth. Just you. You are no longer for everyone. You are for you. And that is more than enough. So what now? You've seen the pattern. You've named the wound. You felt the ache. And now, you choose differently. That doesn't mean you'll never be triggered again. That doesn't mean every relationship will be perfect. It means you'll notice faster. Speak up sooner. Walk away when you need to. It means your peace becomes non-negotiable. Your softness becomes protected. Your needs become valid without apology. Choosing yourself is not selfish. It's sacred. It tells the little kid inside you, you're safe now. You don't have to earn love by abandoning yourself. You don't have to settle for pain just to feel wanted. And even if no one claps for you, even if no one understands, you still choose yourself. Because healing isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like not texting back. Sometimes it looks like crying in your car and still going to work, still showing up for yourself. It's in the small choices, the quiet boundaries, the gentle goodbyes, and most of all, it's in the moments you say, I deserve better, and actually mean it. Maybe they won't change. Maybe they won't apologize. Maybe they'll move on like you never mattered. But you will know that you stopped abandoning yourself, that you chose growth over comfort, truth over fantasy, healing over history. And that's how cycles end. Not with fireworks, but with awareness, and one brave choice at a time. So if you're still clinging to a toxic pattern, let this be your sign. Not to hate yourself, but to hold yourself. Not to speed up, but to slow down. Because your future doesn't need another version of your past. It needs you. Fully present, fully awake, fully whole. It starts today. It starts with truth. It starts with you.